This boulder sits right across the valley from where we park our van every night. I've seen it over the years, but since it's situated on the edge of a cliff, there's no way to access it without using a rope. But the boulder itself looked possibly climbable, so I decided to rappel down with a rope and go explore to see if there was something there. Once I actually rappelled down and started exploring the features a little bit, it became clear that, wow, this thing can go. After identifying the line and which holds I thought I would use, I immediately started cleaning the boulder. Cleaning a boulder refers to removing any loose or brittle rock that could break off while you're climbing and cause you to fall unexpectedly or in a dangerous way. There's also a plant called lichen that grows on the boulders that needs to be removed before it can be climbed safely. I only remove what is absolutely necessary for the climb. The name of the game here is minimal impact. Think scrubbing and brushing rather than hammering and chiseling. I also add some chalk to the freshly cleaned holds, a symbolic finale to the cleaning process. Now it's time to actually try some of the moves. Up until this point, you still don't know if the hours of work that you've done is actually going to amount to anything. It could simply be that the holds are too few or too far apart for it to be climbable. The margin by which this boulder was possible was very slim. The landing is such that there's only one part that sticks out far enough that you can safely fall without falling off the cliff. And it just so happened that the only identifiable line on this boulder was directly above the largest part of the landing, almost like it was meant to be. The next day, I lowered my crash pads down onto the landing so that I could try the boulder and imagine how it would be when I finally did it without the rope. I kept myself securely attached but left slack in the rope so I could imagine and start to get used to the feeling of climbing without it. These first moves here are actually the hardest on the boulder and actually took me the longest to figure out. At one point, you have to let your body swing out into the air, a very satisfying but scary feeling movement due to the proximity to the cliff's edge. The next few moves are pretty straightforward. Physically challenging, but not very technically difficult. At this point, I still didn't know if it was going to be safe to fall without the rope. And by safe, I mean that if I were to fall, that I would land on the crash pads as intended. So I decided to take a test drop down onto the crash pads. The most psychological part of this boulder was definitely going to be the mantle. The mantle refers to transitioning from the vertical part of the rock to the horizontal top of the boulder. On this boulder, the mantle wasn't very difficult, but it still wasn't clear if I fell from there if I would land on the crash pads, and I wasn't brave enough to do a test fall from that height. In bouldering, we refer to this as the no-fall zone. After rehearsing all the moves multiple times, the time finally came to take off the rope and try the boulder.
perdóname.